Hello and good morning, everybody. This is a unscheduled Saturday stream, so welcome to all who are here. So yeah, before I get started, we're going to be doing something interesting today. We're going to be working on a new prototype. This is sort of my weekend project. Kind of in the phase right now where I'm still prototyping ideas. I've got that multiplayer game that I was prototyping and probably will still be prototyping to some extent. And also got this new game that I want to prototype and see how it works. So yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what is going to be the most promising use of my time. I basically have enough time to make one more commercial release before I run out of money. So I have to be careful about what I choose to do. So that's why I think some prototypes are going to be valuable. But before I get into what we're going to be working on, Gunforge is available for purchase. So if you want to support my work, you can check out the Steam page that's linked below. And you can also purchase one of my Udemy courses if you want to support my work, but also if you want to learn how to build a complete game in the Godot engine. Hello, Nunes Games. Welcome. It's good to see you. So, what are we going to be prototyping today? Stefan says, good morning. Just make a hit and you'll never have to work again. Easy. Yeah, I mean, that's the dream, right? I would be happy if I could just pay myself a salary for a year off of my next game, but we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, so the game that I'm prototyping is I am making what is shaping up to be an auto battler, a necromancer themed auto battler. So the idea is that you've got this grid here. I don't know why these aren't grouped. Oh, let's do this. So you've got the grid here, and all of these things are on the grid, all of these cards, I'm calling them. But some of the cards are entities like skeleton or a viper or whatever this shade thing is. And then you've got some items like this alembic or this incense. I mean, I don't know if it really looks like incense. Kind of looks like a bowl of salad or something, but the idea is that you'll have your grid here and you'll place whatever you happen to have in your possession onto the grid in an optimal way, and then these things will have turn cooldowns and certain abilities. So for instance, the skeleton might attack once every 3 turns, maybe the shade attacks once every 8 turns or whatever, and the viper, so on and so forth. But they'll all have different properties, right? So the skeleton might just do some raw damage, viper might apply poison or whatever. But then you've got these things, these items like the alembic or the incense here, which will provide certain buffs to the game board. So I haven't thought about this too much, but you know, an alembic might well, like I said, I haven't thought about it too much. Like there's a whole kinds of things that I can add to the game, like poison or fire or whatever. But let's just say the incense like reduces adjacent turn counters by 1, right? So instead of attacking once every 3 turns, the skeleton would attack once every 2 turns, right? So stuff like that. And then, so the idea is that you'll battle another grid, an enemy grid, which will be some kind of AI player, obviously. And your goal is to try to optimize your board so that you can beat that player. And of course, this is going to be a roguelike format. So after you beat your opponent, you'll get certain upgrades. Those upgrades could be new entities or new cards of any type. They could be a shop where you can buy stuff or sell stuff. It could also be an upgrade like being able to expand the game board by a cell or 2, so you can actually place more things on the board. And that's basically the idea. And of course you can, or I can enable multiple different kinds of builds with this, right? So there could be like a way of maximizing your poison damage or your fire damage or whatever. And there could be all kinds of other interesting things. So I've actually been working on this for a little bit since yesterday afternoon. And what I've got here is I've got the basic architecture set up where I can hop into the game here. This is my player. So this is my enemy board on the right hand side. I've got my player here. So I can place my skeletal warrior on here. And the idea is that once you click the begin, your board is kind of going to be locked in. I think I will add the ability to like maybe pause the game and reorganize some things, but once you click begin, that's when the turns start. And you can see that these health bars are going down. It's because the skeletons are doing, I think, 2 damage every 3 turns. And a turn is just an arbitrary amount of time. I have it set to 0.5 seconds, but of course that will, that could be sped up by the player, for instance. So that's basically what I've got. It doesn't look like much yet because I've just been working on the architecture. Obviously I shouldn't be able to move these guys at all, but you know, there's a lot of stuff going on here still that I need to address, but that's what the point of this stream is. So what I actually want to do here is there's a couple of things that I need. So first, I should be able to show the damage on these various entities, but I don't think I want to do any UI stuff just yet. Has the position in the grid any significance? Well, it only has significance insofar as you have to move things around to fit items on the grid. So that's it. So like, you know, there's this item here, which is like an L shape, right? And so, you know, if you want to maximize its bonus, you might want to reorient things, right? So this might not actually be an optimal layout. What might be an optimal layout here is taking this guy, move this one here instead, and then take this, oops, take this and put it here, for instance, you know, or here, because if this is providing adjacent bonuses to entities, then you might do that. But then if you have the alembic like this, you know, that can be providing a bonus to the skeleton and to the shade. So it's going to be more of like, the grid position is not significant by itself, but it will be, you know, kind of how you organize things. Hello, Marcus, or Marcos. What is Auto Battler? Never played one. Basically, it's just kind of like the combat operates by itself. So you don't really play an active role in the combat. You basically set up the board and then you hope that it works. Backpack battles with units, I like the idea. Yeah, and I'm trying to differentiate it from like backpack battles and stuff by having different classes of items. And also I want to add like, I have an idea of adding like certain board debuffs. So like, let's say you had a mage, like a skeletal mage, and it could shoot fireballs at positions in the grid, and that could affect the enemy, like debuff the enemy in some way. So burn will probably do damage, but it could also maybe add a debuff to specific cards that are affected by enemies. Obviously, I still have to prototype all this. I still have to figure out exactly how I want all this to work, but I think it's okay. We're just gonna move forward and just build and see what works. So before I go too deep into doing all this, I think it would be useful to try to come up with an idea for an item that can buff something. So I think, so maybe I'll do the incense. So let's create a new card resource. The best thing to do right now, I think, is to come up with a couple of unique cards that all behave differently, and that will give me a general idea of like what needs to be supported in sort of the turn architecture and everything. So I'm going to create incense, and in here I can add a display name. Dimensions, this is how big the card is. Art, so I need to go in here and I need to actually do this stuff. So let's take this card here. Let's do this. File new. Paste it in here. Okay, so I want to do the following. Okay, so I'm going to save this. This goes into my assets card background. This is a 1x1.png. The cool thing about this is that the texture for the background is automatically determined based on these dimensions. So as long as I name the file correctly, that will automatically be picked up. But then what I want to do is I want to add that, and I'm going to save this differently. This card, let's see. Yeah, we'll create a new folder for this. I hope I'm spelling incense correctly. Okay, so I can do quick load incense here. So the damage is 0. So I got to figure out how to actually program these card effects. I think what I'd probably do is create new resources for the card effects, I think. But yeah, because I need to be able to decide, because I think what I want this to do is I think I want this to... So this is going to have a turn cooldown as well. We'll make it like 4 or something. But the interesting thing about this turn cooldown is that when it triggers, when it reaches 0, so after 4 turns, what I wanted to do is reduce the turn count by adjacent entities, or maybe all adjacent items, by 1 turn. So that means that if this triggers and there's 1 turn remaining on the skeleton, then that will trigger the skeleton immediately on that turn instead of making the skeleton wait. So I think that that's what I want to do. The problem is I have no way of like really programming this into this card definition resource unless I want to just load this all up with all kinds of garbage. So what I think I need to do is I probably need to create a separate resource for like card effect, like a card effect definition or a card effect resource, and then be able to assign that to the card definition by default. But then the nice thing about doing that is that I could have dynamic events during the game where like you could add a card effect to a card that doesn't typically have it, right? So like the skeleton itself might be able to get that turn reduction on it. You know what I mean? Hello, Neozoid, welcome back. So I think that there's a good amount of potential here. What I want to do is just build the game in a super generic way where like the base cards have their behaviors, but then like they could just accumulate behaviors over time too through like upgrades and stuff. So I think that's probably what I should do next. So I've got my incense. I'm just going to make sure that this works before I go any further. That should just work. So I've got my incense there and I can put the skeleton, boom. So yeah, and then that obviously doesn't have any effect yet because I got to build that into the game, but let's go ahead and say add incense and 1x1 card background. Okay, so let's create a new folder for card effect or card, maybe ability. Maybe card ability is better. Let's create a new script, scripts data. Let's create new script, card ability resource. Is this what I want to do? Is this what I want to do? I think so, but I'm going to create a new folder in here. Data card. Do I want to make this underscore ability? I guess that's fine. Create new resource. Actually, let's create new script. Let's do card ability definition resource. It's fine. Card ability definition resource. Okay. Goodness gracious. And the reason I'm doing this is because I'm going to make this a global class. This is going to extend resource, and we're going to go ahead and grab, let's see, card definition resource. I'm probably going to want the display name here. Yeah, let's do a display name. I also want the ID and the Pascal ID. Yeah, I think I'll just mostly copy this. I really like this pattern of doing things with resources. Pascal ID, split, last, card ability definition resource. And we can get rid of this stuff. Cool. Game.data.card ability. Oh, that's not going to be good, is it? I wonder if I should just rename this to game.data.card. Yeah, let's just rename that. And the reason is because what I want to do now is I want to... Oh, shoot. This is already a name. I'll just rename this to ability then. Why not? We'll get there eventually. Okay, so a card ability definition resource is just going to have the definitional parts of the ability, but none of the functionality. So the resource basically just registers that such an ability exists. It will have a display name, perhaps, and probably a description in here eventually. So I can configure that all through the editor. But what I need to do is I need to have the logical component of like how the ability actually works. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new script, which I have to do through the editor because of the UID stuff. Script. We're going to do base card ability, and this is probably going to be, this is going to be an abstract class that I can override with behaviors. So this is going to be abstract class base card ability. I don't know exactly what's going to be in here yet, but what I want to do now is let's build this. You should definitely use composition to make the game scalable. That's a neat tutorial on YouTube for that. Oh yeah, that's true. I saw your tweet about this prototype and I'm excited for more about it. Thank you, Matthias. Yeah, I'm excited about it too. I mean, one of the things I'm excited about is like I think it's simple enough, but also complex enough. Like I think I could bake a lot of complexity into the game with relatively little effort. I don't want to be overly optimistic, but I think this is the kind of game that I could have mostly complete within like 3 or 4 months, because once the architecture is in place for how everything works and how all the data flows to the system, adding new content like new cards and new abilities and stuff and new encounter types is, I think, going to be relatively easy. But, you know, I'm always a little bit optimistic on my timelines, but it's certainly easier than the multiplayer prototype that I was doing, and there's not as much like animation and artwork that needs to be done, because like the cards just have static art, right? And then I can animate the cards and their attack effects with like particles and animations and stuff. So I think I can make it feel really good. I think I can make it really compelling, and I think there's a lot of like really cool design stuff that can be done, but it's just in a relatively simple framework, you know? Mm-hmm. You are correct, alter ego. Famous last words. I think that you should be, maybe you should be outwardly optimistic and inwardly pessimistic. There's like that, there's a balance. Like, I kind of don't believe what I'm saying, but I also, there's no harm in saying it. Anyway, let's see. So, what am I doing? Base card ability. Right, so let's create this card ability. So create new resource. card ability definition resource, and we're going to call this just call it speed. Display name, speed. We'll add a description in here, so maybe I'll just go ahead and do that now. Export, let's do property hint, multi-line text. This game is also like very much up my alley because there's a lot of architecture, like code architecture that needs to happen here, which is always fun to do. So reduces adjacent card turn count, or yeah, reduces adjacent card turn. When triggered. So something like that. Obviously, I'm going to have to figure out all of this nonsense here, but we've got this speed. So now if I go to, let's create, actually, the other thing that I want to do is I'm going to create a damage one. So just like a raw damage. So card ability resource, we're going to call it damage. Do I want to have different damage types? I think so, but I think I can just call this damage for now. Damage. And this... So here's the tricky thing with this now, is I need to be able to provide a base damage through here. Yeah. So that's the tricky thing. I will have to figure that out later. How can I configure a base damage in here? Do I want to configure a base damage in here? I need to be able to supply damage in some way. Oh, that's tricky. Okay, hold on a second. I did not think about that. So there are some card abilities that aren't going to have configurable data, like the speed, right? Because it's just it's a straight up. Maybe I should make it configurable. I wonder. But the problem is each card is going to have its own damage. It's not like there's a universal damage. So how am I going to set this up with resources? I could create. Shoot. I mean, one way I could do this is, let's see. If I open up my card definition resource, I'm going to get rid of this damage here. What I want to do probably is export private. No, public card ability definition resource card. Let's do ability definitions. Get private set is equal to empty array. What does this end up looking like? Failed to build project. What do you mean I failed to build project? I know. It's fine. Let me just. Yeah, it's fine. I know I'm breaking everything. I know. For my next project, I want to build something short too, just to tell you I'm working in a shmup. I'm working on a shmup since you launched your Godot 4 course, and like you and unfortunately changed the project multiple times, and I'm doing it in my free time. So for my next project, I don't want to spend more than a year. Yeah, I think that's smart. You don't want to. I spent 4 years of on and off work working on Gunforged, and it's like I can't do that anymore. Mostly because it's like it was hanging over my head for 4 years. I couldn't really do anything else with seriousness because it was always like, oh, but you have this game that you haven't finished yet. So yeah, I think I'm going to try really hard to make super focused games. And that's kind of what I didn't like about the direction the multiplayer game was going, is that I could just feel the scope increasing quite a bit. And I thought about it a lot, and I was like, I couldn't figure out a way to accomplish that idea by also narrowing the scope a bunch. Like, it just, narrowing the scope just wasn't going to work. At least I couldn't come up with anything clever. So this idea being much more focused and much more narrow I'm feeling a little bit more confident about, but it's possible that this game's gameplay is just not going to be that compelling either, so we have to see. Hello, MM, cooking another banger. I sure hope so, thank you. 3 to 4 months in game dev time is about 6 to 8 months in real time. Yeah. Hello, Aniki. Welcome back. No donate today. Ran out of money. Oh, don't worry about that, Snup Bill. Always appreciate you having you here. I'm glad that you could join. And again, always love that message, yummers. You've been very generous, so yeah, don't worry about it. I've started my current game in Godot 4.0, now Godot 4.4, and it's still in development. Oh yeah, I'm focused on finish until August. Well, yeah, Gunforge started in like Godot 3.3 or something like that. Actually, I don't even think that's true. It might have been like 3.1 even. I have to go back. I started, well, whatever version of Godot is available in September of 2020 is when the first commit of Gunforged happened. So I do remember, I did a video on my channel actually of the process of upgrading to Godot 4, and I was using C#, so that upgrade process was kind of involved. Hello, Fiskets. New prototype. What's the deal? You might hear this a lot today. Yeah, I mean, we have more viewers today, or more viewers right now since I started the stream, so I'll go over it again really quickly. So the idea is that this is a Necromancer-themed auto-battler where you have cards, and each card is one of these things. And the cards have to be arranged on your grid here optimally to defeat an enemy. So auto-battler meaning that once you start the combat encounter, there will just be turns that automatically tick, and things will have certain turn cooldowns, and when they reach a 0 in terms of their turn counter or their cooldown, then they will execute whatever abilities are associated with the card. And the idea is that you're going to encounter AI enemies, obviously, and you're going to want to beat their board. So basically, your board or your player has health, and the enemy will have health, and you want to set up your board such that you kill them faster than they kill you. That's basically the idea. Now, I haven't really determined exactly what's going to go on. I don't know if the player's health is going to reset every encounter, or if like you just have a health pool that you need to manage across multiple encounters. I don't know how that's going to work just yet, but the idea is that, you know, you have like your Viper here, and the Viper might do poison damage, might apply a poison effect, which does damage over time, right? And you've got an Alembic here, and this could provide bonuses to adjacent items, or maybe, you know, with the L shape, it could say, oh, well, it applies it applies the bonus in the column that it occupies as well as the row that it occupies, right? So anything to the right here could get the bonuses of the Alembic, and anything to the up direction could get the bonuses. The Incense I've actually just added, and I want to make it reduce cooldowns for any adjacent cards. So this could affect entities, but it also could affect like the Alembic, right? If the Alembic only applies its buff every 5 turns or whatever, but the Incense is there, it could speed it up so that it doesn't have to do 5 turns every time. So anyway, that's the idea, and it'll be wrapped in a roguelike formula. So as you complete encounters, you will get various rewards and opportunities. Of course, there can be a shop where you can buy and sell items. Of course, there could be just regular old item drops, you know, like different card drops. There could be unique encounter types that maybe provide risk-reward abilities. And then also there could be opportunities to expand the size of your grid as well. Like maybe you get every so often you get a grid cell that you can place on any part of your grid to grow it, right? So if you have an oddly shaped item and you just need one more grid cell to fit it in, you could add that here on the right-hand side here. And so the grid doesn't have to be a perfect square is basically what I'm trying to say, is that so you're going to have control over all these things, and it's going to be about planning and optimization and modifying your build as you're going on. And then, of course, you can also have the ability to upgrade certain types of cards. So if you've got multiple copies of a skeleton, you might have one skeleton that's been upgraded like 3 times and it's like super buffed, right? And so maybe the other skeletons are not as appealing because they take up slots on the grid and they're not as powerful. So you might want to just say, well, I'm going to stick with the really buffed skeleton and then just try to get some other buff items to like further buff them. So anyway, that's the idea of the game. Gonna figure out exactly how all this works as I prototype it, but that's kind of where my mind is at right now. So yeah. Do I have plans to release Gunforge on consoles? I do not at the moment anyway. Welcome to the stream, by the way. I don't know how to say your first name. Zhao? Display grid, grid template, columns repeat. Oh my goodness. My man is putting CSS in the chat. I would love to be able to use CSS for game UIs, but we won't go down that rabbit hole. I'm an HTML and CSS supremacist. I think that every UI ever made in history should use those things, but you know. Anyway. So what am I doing? So yeah, I need to get this incense working. Right, so I was going to... So this skeleton warrior here, I wonder if this works. Can I do new card ability definition resource and then fill it? No, I don't want to do that. That's crazy. How am I going to add configurable data to these definition resource? Oh man, I didn't think about this. I don't know how to add configurable data to this. So these are, so the reason I'm calling these card definition resources is this is like what the base card always is, right? These are its dimensions, this is its art, this is its turn cooldown, and then whatever default abilities and it has. An ability could be, it could be damage, it could be poison, it could be fire, it could be speed, where you reduce the turn count of adjacent cards. And these are card ability definitions. The problem is, how am I going to, for a specific card definition, give it a card ability definition with a configurable piece of data like damage? I mean, the one way I could do it is I could fracture this more and I could say, well, there's a card damage definition resource that extends card ability definition resource, but I don't know. That sounds kind of hairy to me. That might be the way that I have to do it though. And I'm going to have this problem too, in other places like poison damage and fire damage. So I need to kind of figure out what I'm doing here. The alternate thing to do, well, let's see. Shoot. I don't know if there's an easy way to do this with resources. I don't know if there's an easy way to do this with resources. Okay. Sounds like a combination of the Bazaar and Backpack Battle. Sounds fun. Yeah, I mean, that's funny that you mentioned that, because that's basically... I was playing a little bit of the Bazaar, and I was like, wait a minute, this would be really cool as like with a slight twist on it, so... That was kind of the inspiration for the idea. Someone made a prototype language that works similar to XML for making UIs in Godot. Don't know what happened to that project. I mean, that sounds cool. HTML CSS talk while I'm trying to test out the motion package in React caught me off guard. Yeah. Extend from the base script and override a function, then set a new script. Well, I don't, yeah, that's the thing. I don't know if I want to extend from the base script. Special weekend stream, yeah. What about resources? Just trying to figure out how to get this all to work. So like, I don't know. So I'm going to need a configurable damage value to place on the skeleton warrior. I could extend from card ability definition resource and make card damage ability resource. The problem though is that I wonder if I should do something I wonder if I should do something very kind of nasty here. Well, no, that wouldn't work either. Oh, man. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do card ability definitions. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this with resources. Ideally, what I'd have in here is this card definition resources. I'd be able to say, okay, here's all the card abilities that I want, and then here's all their configured data, right? Did you use ChatGPT for scripting stuff? If not, can you give me some tips to start coding, figuring out how to do things myself? I mean, sometimes I'll use ChatGPT or other chatbots for figuring out some trickier things or like thinking through architecture things, but I don't use it to actually like write the code that I implement. I mostly use it just for ideas and inspiration. In terms of how to figure out how to do things yourself, I think what you need to do is you just need to, as unsatisfying as it sounds, you need to just start working, and you just start working and go until you hit a problem, and then Google and try to figure out why you're having that problem. What you don't want to do is you want to try avoiding copy and pasting code or just blindly writing word for word what somebody else wrote or what a chatbot wrote, because you're never going to learn that way. So I would try to do things yourself. When you encounter an issue, then you can ask very specific questions of Google or ChatGPT. And then you just have to, basically learning is just a function of like encountering issues that you've never encountered before and then figuring out why you encountered that issue. And then once you learn, oh, that's why I encountered it, that's how you learn. So you kind of have to put yourself in a situation where you're going to run into issues that you have to solve, I think. You add damage to the card definition resource and you make spells, just modify that damage. The problem is not every card is going to have damage. So I'm just going to have a garbage piece of data on a lot of cards, which might be okay, but imagine that going out into the future where I've got like, well, there's damage and poison damage, but then turn count reduction, and then like, so I'm just going to have all of these properties on a card that potentially won't do anything. Now, maybe that's okay, just to have a whole list of properties on the card. And then I can just tweak and configure those things. But what if there's an ability definition that I have that is not configurable, right? I don't think you can compose resources. Yeah, I don't think it's going to work. It's just easier to create a script per card and not try to do it all data driven. I think that these ability definition resources are still going to be useful because they can contain the display name and the description. But yeah, I think because I want to compose this stuff, it's not going to work. So I wonder, maybe I should just put just a bunch of configurable data here and on the card resource itself. The problem is, the thing that I'm running into is that I do want to be able to compose the cards. I do want to be able to compose the cards during the game. So for instance, a skeleton warrior could potentially have fire damage added to it, even though it's not configured in that way. Okay, so I think what I'll do, maybe I'll do a combination of both, where I have a bunch of configurable data on the card definition resource, but then that can get converted into classes, into C#, into class instances that correspond to that. And that can be how I can compose things. So I basically derive the card abilities from what's configured on the card. That's going to be a little bit messy, but maybe it's the best of both worlds. Maybe it's the best of both worlds. Let me try. Let's go forward with that. Oops. So card definition resource to duplicate. Okay. Export category abilities. Export, let's go back to this. Public int damage. Public int turn, let's do speed, I guess. The other problem too, though, is that this is not specific enough, because what if I want to apply speed to adjacent items? Or what if I want to apply speed to only the item that is to the north cell? This is not enough information to do that stuff. Hold on a second. Give me 1 second. There's some banging happening. I gotta go investigate. Okay, well, I think Zebu probably is right. I think I should probably just take a... I probably should just write this all out in C# instead of trying to do it with resources here. Oh, brother. So... resources, data card ability. So I think I'll keep these card definitions just for the art and whatnot, but I think I think, yeah, maybe I should just script out the cards so that I can determine what their abilities are and everything. Is that going to be good? Is that going to be good? Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be the way I have to do it. If you just add a list of attributes that they're also resources, I could potentially do that, yeah. Only name and have the ability in all in separate script. Yeah, I think that's what I'm thinking of doing. Sounds like the strategy pattern would fit here. I have to look that up. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe just a set of tags on a card definition where that type of upgrade can be applied to. I do want to have a tag system. Also, did I miss your stream where you started working on a new game? No, this is the first stream where I'm doing this prototype. Does resources accept other resources as attributes? Yeah, you can do that. Maybe you could pass the damage resource and invoke them when is filled out. Not sure if that works. I think you can do that. The problem is that I'm going to have to fragment my resources to such a great degree that I think it's going to become unwieldy to do it that way. So yeah, seems like you need to apply these possible abilities to the grid itself, and the card just has properties that get applied to the grid. That way adjacent grids blocks can apply their stat to it. And a grid location can have all the possible stats that are either 0 or filled out. I'm not going to do it that way. I think that it'd be simpler to... I mean, I am storing... I mean, I guess I'm kind of doing that already in an indirect way. I'm storing which card exists at which cell. And so, you know, it just becomes kind of trivial to determine what abilities need to affect which cards, because I can just I know which cards are at each cell. But that's not really the problem. The problem is mostly like the definitions. I don't think that making the abilities actually work is going to be that big of a problem. If you want composable stuff, you can make a list of interfaces and then add all of them to your card. Yeah. Okay, let me think. So I probably, all right, let's try scripting the cards individually in terms of, so I definitely still want to keep the abilities. I'm not going to use interfaces. Every ability is going to be an abstract class that can override whatever events that it wants. And then the card script will basically just contain, it will set up the initial list of abilities, and then it will contain the future list of abilities, I think. I think that's what I'm going to do. But we'll see how it works. Okay, this is going to be fun. I am going to keep these card definitions though, because that contains some like metadata about the card that's good to have. But also this is kind of serving as a repository of like what are all the cards available in the game. So these end up becoming the card IDs. So this is kind of a database here. The file system becomes a database in this sense. But what I need to be able to do now is go to data. Yeah. So let's do this. I'm going to do something a little bit tricksy here, which I haven't had problems with yet. So we'll see. But let's see, data card. And I'm going to create a new script in here. Let's call it base card.cs. Object empty. Card, base card, namespace, game.data.card. Public abstract class base card. And then what I would do is have like a new script and call each card like skeleton warrior. Okay, this is probably going to work better. Namespace game.data.card. Skeleton warrior extends base card. Okay, let's see. So public base card ability, card abilities, get protected set. Maybe I should make this a list instead. Okay. So skeleton warrior, public skeleton warrior. So in the constructor here, I can add the basic abilities. So base card, ability. Do I need this card definition ability anymore? I don't know. Goodness is gracious. I guess I'm not fully understanding the problem. Well, it's hard to explain the problem fully over stream. Hello, Hori Portier. Fingers crossed. I think this is, I'm feeling pretty good about this. This needs to be game.gameplay. So basically what I'm going to do is, let's see, skeleton warrior. So in here, let's create a damage. So we got base card ability. Let's create new file damage. Do I want to call it damage ability? No. Oh, you know what? I don't like this UID stuff. I have to create this through the editor now. So not fun. create new script, damage. It just adds extra steps. I don't know if there's a way to generate UIDs in a different way, but public abstract class damage extends base ability, base card ability, or no, public, not abstract. Namespace, game.data.ability. So I can do public. So ideally what I'd have in here is so base card ability would be like, I would have like a public void execute, and then there would be an execution context in here that could give me all the data that I need. And then I have to override that, so public. So this would have like the grid information, who my target is, so on and so forth. And then I would do public void execute, public override void execute. And I could do that stuff in here. Public damage int damage. We could probably set private, or no, let's do public. Public int damage, get private set. Oh, I can't name it the same name. Value, I guess. So in here, I could do whatever context dot board dot health component dot damage value, something like that. Okay, and then my skeleton warrior, what I would do is I would say ability, card abilities. I guess this can be a private set, maybe. Card abilities dot add new damage 2, like so. So I can compose it with the script here. Card stats. Why is this still? Oh. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm thinking. Use primary constructor. I don't want to. I guess I'll use the primary constructor. It's fine. So card ability definition resource. So I'm not gonna, those aren't coming into play just yet. Skeleton warrior. Base card ability. Wait, I'm getting lost here. Yeah, so the card definition resource. Right, so I need to be able to... That class needs to exist somewhere. So in my card stats... I wonder if I should do something different with this now. This card stats object basically represents, so the card definition resource is like the base definition. The card stats is the card stats is kind of the container for all of the stats pertaining to this specific card. But I think that this is going to change now that I've got this scripted exactly. Well, this is going to be a mess for a second. But we're going to work towards it. We're going to work towards it. I don't like how I have this namespace here, but let's do this. Game.data.card base card. Then I create a new card, stats from card definition resource. I need to base card. Let me do something here. I'm going to do this. Bloop. Thank you. I love lifting code from my other stuff. Scripts data card. To card instance. Card script. Oh, this isn't going to work either, is it? Is it going to work? Oh, no, it'll work. As long as these don't have... Yeah, okay. As long as those don't have construct arguments, it should work. So now I can do... Let's do dupe.cardScript is equal to cardScript. Base return base card cardScript.new. Why did I not have to do that? What? What? Hold on a second. I gotta go back to my cooperative roguelike here. Why does that work here? I wonder if that's going to work. I wonder if that's going to work. You don't need to. Godot will find the files eventually and make a Udemy file. Okay. You were just describing interfaces? Well, I guess I don't understand the point of why would I use interfaces over abstract classes. Also, I think dependency injection is a little bit overkill for this. That's my opinion. I haven't really found dependency injection to be all that useful throughout my professional career. I mean, we never used dependency injection in our TypeScript projects. I guess well, we did, but they were handled automatically by a framework for us. Create new files from NeoVim when I alt-tab the UID file. And I haven't really observed the UID file being created. It should make the UID automatically once you save and refocus Godot window. At least that's how it worked for me. Okay, I'll have to pay attention to that. Strategy pattern, why not use interfaces? Well, why not use abstract classes? What's the difference? Abstract class has the benefit of I guess this is different with the newest version of C#, but I can write basic implementations in the abstract class as well. Hello, Polaris. Hello, Rin. So you make an interface for execute method and do whatever you want in each ability class. iCard ability, yes, but I'm assuming that I'm going to want shared card logic in the base abstract class at some point. Right now, yeah, I could replace what I have with an iCard ability, but I'm assuming that I'm going to want basic implementations like here, card abilities, right? Like the list of card abilities for base card. I guess this is a different one, but that's why I'm using that here. I don't know. I just don't think interfaces are all that useful in a lot of cases. So like in here, I could add like a method that just has a concrete implementation, right? That I can access on all the card abilities. I don't think I could, I mean, I think they changed it recently with interfaces where you can have implementations in interfaces, but Anyway, let's see. I don't know if this is going to work, though. That's the thing. Base card equals card definition resource dot to card instance. So now I've got my base card here. So in here, execute card. So this is where I would do my thing. So I need an execution context. I'm just gonna, well, let's see. Let's create a new file, execution context.cs. Let's see if this creates a UID file. Namespace, game.data, public class execution context. This is going to take the execution context in here. Okay, so execute. The execution context, I'm probably going to need a board, target board or something. So very basic for now, but where's my damage here? Execution context.targetboard.health.damage value. So very simple for now. Then in my turn, where is it? Oh gosh, I already lost where I was going. There's too much going on here. Okay, get rid of that. Decrement turn counter. Turn executor component. Yeah, so in here, for each var ability in card stats dot base card dot card abilities. Honestly, I could probably just put a method on here. Public void execute abilities. Which means that this, well, I probably do need to be able to read that, but let's do execution context. I'm going to rename this. Card is redundant here. Ability.execute execution context. Okay. So then in here, what I can do is I can say card stats. I'm probably going to remove this card stats object, but let's just call execute abilities. New execution context. Target board is equal to target board. Then I can stuff this with as much context as I need for the abilities. Is that going to work? Also, let's see if Godot generated the UID for that. Yeah, there's no execution context UID. Does it only need to generate UIDs for things that extend node? Let's try extending node. Maybe it only needs UIDs for types. Interesting. So does it only generate UIDs for scripts that extend a Godot object? Or was it just really delayed? I generated one for base card ability, so maybe it was just really delayed. Okay. Well, I will trust that Godot will continue to generate those UIDs for me. Okay, let me just look through this and make sure that I didn't do anything super. I don't know if this is going to work, this cast here, but we're going to see. We can get rid of this damage. We can get rid of this. This is going to have to change at some point. Execution context, base card ability definition resource. I don't know if I need these still. Skeleton warrior, abilities add, new damage too. Okay, all right. Well, I guess let's just run it and see what happens. I should still see the damage ticking down when I click begin. Oh, we broke. Cannot open file. Scripts data card incense. Oh, I gotta create an incense script. Unable to cast object. That's probably this. Well, is that? Yeah, that's probably the same issue. Probably the same issue. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's create a new file. Oops. New file. Incense. Incense. And I'll hopefully get to adding that speed ability at some point. But let's see if this works. Unable to cast object of type. Non-existent function new. Non-existent function new? Are you kidding me? Do I need to do this first? No. What if I do... This is probably not going to work either. Yeah. Maybe... Why does everything have to be difficult? Non-existent function new? Are you kidding me? You wouldn't need a UID for a script if you aren't attaching the script to a node, so I guess that would make sense. I thought... Yeah, maybe I don't understand how UIDs work. Yeah, I don't really know what's going on there with the UIDs, but we'll just trust Godot to do the right thing, I suppose. So this C# script. So can I not call new on this if it doesn't extend a Godot type? Do I need to make it extend a Godot type? I mean, I can do that. I can do that if I want to. So let's see. Base card will make this extend ref counted just to make Godot happy. All right, let's see if that works. Thank you, Heart-Coded. Very much appreciate that. Good morning to you as well. In Godot we trust, yes indeed. Godot would never let us hurt ourselves. Yeah. Oh, look at that, it seems to be working. Okay, so apparently I can't instantiate a C# class if it does not extend a Godot reference, but that's okay. So I put that there. Okay, now we've got some issues here. Card stats, base card, execute abilities. So this base card is never being set for some reason. As base card. Can I do this now? Let's try that. I think maybe that cast was not working. Okay, put that guy there. Boom. Begin. There we go. So you can see the damage is ticking down now. So this side is taking more damage because there's two guys attacking at the same time. And then this side is taking less damage. Okay. All right. So that was fine. So now I have a nice way of just getting these classes that I can define here. That's adding that ability. This card stats object is very messy now. I wonder if I should. Maybe it's fine. The card stats is like the actual, it's keeping track of the actual game data. I think that's probably a good idea. Is it a good idea? Or should I just put everything on the base card? I wonder if I should just put everything on the base card and this card stats object kind of becomes obsolete. If I want this base card object to be long-lived, so this would be the long-lived card. So this would be the card that, you know, it accumulates upgrades and abilities and everything. So maybe I should move away from that card stats. Let me just commit what I have here first. Work on card stuff. Have you upgraded Gunforge to Godot 4.4 to get around the shader compilation issue? Found 4.4 to be far quicker. I have not, no. Do you work full-time on this? Yeah, I mean, I'm full-time indie. I'm trying to be full-time indie anyway. I'm not making a full-time salary, but I am running off of my savings and my income from other sources like Udemy. So, but yeah, I'm trying to make it so that I can just make games professionally. But yeah, I updated for all the beta releases and lost steam on like RC2. Godot 4.4 is stable someday, yeah. I like composing small objects together and trying to keep them small modular. Main game scene is like 28 scenes in a trench coat. That's a funny way of putting it. Okay, I think what I'm gonna do is, I think the card stats object is kind of obsolete now because I have the base card, which also extends ref counted, which is actually good because that means that I can pass this card around. So what I'm gonna do is card definition resource. I honestly don't know if I need to be duplicating this anymore, but it's fine. So the card definition resource is something that I definitely want to keep because that's going to serve as, like I said, the database on the file system. But in the base card here, I think what I want to do is card definition resource. Actually, I need to take a break real quick. But I think this is going to be better. Yeah, I think this will be better. We'll see. Public int turn. Turns remaining, get private set. Yeah. We are going to need to associate it with a card node, I think. That's the other thing, is like, how do I couple the card node object with the base card? I think that's going to be a little bit tricky. I'm kind of reticent to store the card node reference on the base card itself. So maybe I'll keep the card stats if it only serves as a container for coupling the base card and the card node together. Decrement turn cooldown. Where is this? Maybe I should keep these. Maybe I will keep the card stats, actually. This card stats object, I'll probably change the name, but what this can do is this can just keep track of the turn cooldown, I think. So the way I'm thinking about it is that the base card here, this will be a snapshot of all of the data about the card. So how much damage it has, what abilities it has, so on and so forth. And, but it's not going to contain any game state information beyond that. So like as you upgrade it, like this could have like an upgrade tier on it. So like public into level, like anything related to the card attributes, right? So here's its level, here's its abilities, you know, stuff like that. But then the card stats object, this can be the object that couples the base card and the card node together. We'll get rid of this card definition resource. But then also keeps track of the turn countdown and any other like data that's specific to like the current encounter. Because I don't think I want to start putting encounter data inside of the base card. The base card is going to be like a long-lived, like if you start with a skeleton warrior and you go like 10 rounds and he gets upgraded, like that should just store the information about like the upgraded state of the card. But then each encounter's data for that card, like the turns remaining and whatnot, that should be wrapped in this object. So I think that makes sense. I think that makes sense. I think that makes sense. We're going to get rid of this. Base card equals, so card stats. Okay, hold on. Card definition resource. We need to pass this in so that that card definition resource gets associated with the card instance. And then in the card stats here, where is this being called? New card stats, card registry from ID. I'm gonna do something different. Public static base card from, or base card. Return from ID, ID.toBase, to what? Base card, base card. Okay. I guess actually, oh my goodness. Well, I can change this later. I probably should store the turn cooldown on the base card instance as well, just in case I want to permanently reduce the cooldown at some point, but I don't need to worry about that just yet. So we'll rely on the cooldown that's configured in the card definition resource for now until I need to change that. So yeah, okay, all right. So 2-node, okay. Did I break anything? Did I break anything? This is the way. Did you manage to work 8 hours a day on it? No, I don't work 8 hours a day on the projects. Ah, shoot. Ah. Wait. Card definition resource. Base. That's a little bit annoying. Might change that, but anyway. Card stats does not contain a definition, so this would become base card. Okay. Why not compose each card as a scene? Damage and other stats could just be nodes. The answer to that question is I don't want to use the scenes as data stores for what is going to ultimately be highly configurable card data. So basically the card object is the data provider, and then the card scene, this node, is just a pure visual representation of that. So I don't want to do any configuration of data inside of the card node, inside of the card scene. I want the data to all come from this data class and then be reflected in the node, if that makes sense. Because the piece of data that I'm going to be passing around is this core piece of data. So as the scenes are changing, as the board is changing, I may be destroying and recreating card instances, and I want the data to be persistent and just recreate visually the card in accordance with what data is available on the card. So I'll be holding on to the data in a long-term fashion, and then whenever I need to create a card based on that data, I will instantiate a node, and then it will be updated to reflect whatever data is in that card object, if that makes sense. Did I break anything? No. Perfect. Okay, the next thing to do is just see if we can get incense to work here. And that's going to involve some new stuff, so that's going to be fun, but let me commit this first. Goodness gracious, we're getting there. Are you working on a new commercial game already? I am, yeah, that's what we're doing here. Thank you so much for the Australian, I believe, $20, very much. Have a coffee or McDonald's on me. I might do that. It does sound like a great McDonald's day. Thank you so much, Rin. I very much appreciate that. That's very generous. And I'm happy to have you here again, always. Okay, so give me just a 2-minute break. I need to, I need to go, relieve myself, but I was trying to think of a euphemism that's like not too obvious, but anyway. And I also need to get a new drink, so I'm gonna go do that. But in the meantime, please check out Gunforged. It's available on Steam now for $8.99 USD or your regional equivalent. I also have Udemy courses available for sale, so if you want to learn how to build a complete game in the Godot engine, you can definitely do that. It's a great way to support me as well. And I will be right back. I need to git push. What do you mean? It's already there. It's in the history. I got it. Thank you, Crom. I very much appreciate that. Okay, so I'll be right back in just a couple minutes here, and then we will continue on. We're going to try to make the incense work. Oh, euphemism. Oh, yeah, the git push. Oh, I'm going to start saying that. I need to take a break and go do a git push, if you know what I mean. Git prune, maybe. Anyway, BRB. All right, I'm back. I'm thinking, let's go, I don't know, let's go for like another hour and a half or something. Let's see if we can, I'm feeling good today. This is a very fun project despite the difficulties that it's giving me, but I'm curious to see how many of these cards I can implement and like where that's going to take me. So we'll see. Maybe we'll go for a little bit long today. Would love to go get McDonald's myself, but listening to Cyclone Alfred outside causing havoc prevents it. Oh, cyclone season. Fortunately, I don't have to deal with that. I mean, I have to deal with tornadoes on occasion, but yeah, cyclones don't sound fun. You just do what I do, make your DoorDasher go through the inclement weather. Hello, Pragyan. How are you doing? Welcome. All right, let's see if we can get incense working. So this is going to require a couple of things. I'm going to need to create a new speed ability as well. So let's create a new speed. Let's create this speed int value. Value equals value. Oh, that's a keyword, isn't it? Val, and then execute. So yeah, the execution context. So this is where I'm going to need to fill out some more execution context. So public board inventory component. And where am I actually instantiating this? So find all references, turn executor component, executabilities. Sweet. So I have that already. So I can do board inventory component equals board inventory component. So I'll pass that along. So now in my speed here, what I can do is I can, let's see, the incense. Let's do something like get adjacent. Let's go to the board inventory component here. Let's create a method. So this board inventory component, this is data. This holds the data about what cards are on the board and where. And so basically, since this is the store of data, I can write a bunch of methods for querying the board to get whatever information I need. So for instance, I can do public card stats, get adjacent cards. And the thing is though, I think what I need in my execution context here, base card executabilities, probably gonna need, this is kind of, I don't like the direction this is going right now, but I can rethink this later on. Card stats. The funny thing is, the more mature the code base gets, the easier it is to refactor things. I don't know why that is. I guess it's because it limits the range of possibilities in terms of like how you can refactor something given the system that you've already built. I don't know. Anyway. So this get adjacent cards, the tricky thing about this is that I'm going to need to get all of the cells that this card stats occupy. So let's see, get card, so let's do this, var cells is equal to get card occupied cells to card stats. That's going to find all the cells that this card occupies. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do, let's do var neighbors. Neighbors is equal to new vector2. Vector2 array, vector2 dot up, vector2 dot down, vector2 dot left, vector2 dot right. For each var cell in cells, for each var neighbor in neighbors. Neighbords, I spelled that wrong. And I don't want to do duplicates, so I probably need a, let's do hash set card stats result. occupied cells. I'm going to remove this. I'm going to create a method for this. Get public card stats. Get card at cell. Vector 2I cell. Return occupied card stats cell. Var occupied card stats is equal to get card at cell. Check position, so we'll replace that. Then in here, card at cell is equal to get card at cell. New vector 2I cell plus neighbor. Whoops. Cell plus neighbor here. Vector 2I. Oh, this needs to be vector 2I. If card at cell is equal to 2 card stats, so we're going to exclude ourself. Continue. Otherwise, we're going to do result dot add card at cell, or let's do this. If card at cell equals null, or so yeah, and then we'll do return result. Okay, so that should be able to get all the adjacent cards. I think that's correct. I'm fairly confident that's correct. So again, this is, for incense, it's a 1x1, so this outer loop is only going to run one time. But if I have like an L-shaped card that occupies 3 different cells, then it's going to need to check each cell and each cell's neighbor and add all those. And the reason I'm using a hash set is to prevent duplicate entries of the same instance of card stats. And also I'm excluding itself. So it can't detect. You could imagine if I had a 2-cell tall thing, it would be adjacent to itself if I'm checking 1 cell at a time. So get rid of that. And then, so now in here in speed, what I can do is instead of damage here, I can do execution context.board inventory component.get adjacent cards, execution, or get adjacent cards. Yeah, execution context.card stats. So var adjacent cards. Okay. And then in here, I wonder if I could end up with like an infinite loop here. Would that be a problem? I could end up with an infinite loop. Anyway, where's my card stats? So I can call decrement turn cooldown immediately, which is going to shoot. This card execution needs to be able to happen. Well, I'll figure that out in just a second. What I'm going to do is for each var card in adjacent cards, I'm going to do card.decrement turn cooldown. So, yeah, so decrement turn cooldown. So I need to find a way of, I need to be able to trigger this. I wonder if I should turn this into a signal-based thing. So right now, this decrement turn cooldown is being driven by this turn executor component, and this is returning a Boolean about whether this should execute. But I think what I should do instead is I should probably have like a private void, like process card turn or something, card stats, and then I wonder if I should There are some gameplay implications here as well. What if I did, I might need this. Pre-turn tick. Turn tick. Post-turn tick. Is that too much? I might need to break this up into 3 separate loops. My idea is that I could decrement all the turn counters first. I don't know. I don't know. I have to think about this. Fortunately, even DoorDashers and Uber Eats are hiding inside as well. That's, yeah, probably a good idea. Gotta go. Have a good day. Thank you for joining, Christopher. Have a good day yourself. Hello, Ariane. Welcome back. Thank you so much for the 1090 Brazilian real. Very much appreciate that. What are we working on today? Yeah, I'll go ahead and go over it real quick again. So, because it's been a while since I last explained what's going on here. So, this is a Necromancer themed kind of grid manager / auto battler. So the idea is that you'll have these cards here, which are either going to be entities like skeletons or snakes or whatever that have attack abilities. But there's also going to be things like these, which is an incense thing, which can provide abilities to, for example, adjacent cards. And the idea is that each card has a turn cooldown and turn counter, wherein after X amount of turns, it will execute. So, for instance, the skeleton might have a turn counter of 3, and every third turn, it will do X amount of damage. It will do like 2 damage to the enemy. The enemy is going to have a similar board with a layout of its own creatures and buffs and whatnot, and you're basically going to need to be able to construct an optimal board to kill the enemy faster than they kill you. So that's kind of the idea, and of course it's going to be wrapped in a roguelike formula, so you'll get rewards and whatnot for completing encounters. You can grow the size of your board by 1 cell at a time. You can get different powerful abilities. You'll be able to upgrade certain cards. So yeah, that's kind of the idea. And it's going to be a roguelike, so the idea is you just kind of get as powerful as you can during the course of the run, and you could beat more and more powerful encounters and so on and so forth. That's the idea. Still trying to figure it out. Right now, what I'm doing... Awesome, I like it, yeah. Thank you. Right now what I'm doing is I'm trying to implement the incense, which I just talked about. So what the incense is going to do is every time the incense executes, it's going to reduce the active turn cooldown of all of the adjacent cards by 1. So that means that, let's say that skeleton has 1 turn remaining before it attacks, but let's say that the incense has executed, it's going to cause the skeleton to immediately execute on that turn, even though the skeleton only has 1 turn remaining. So that's actually the problem that I'm working on right now. It's like, how do I actually trigger that execution? Because this is a very linear kind of thing, where every tenth of it, or every half a second, which is going to be configurable, I'll have like speed options or whatever, so you can make the game go faster if you want. But right now, every half a second, it automatically advances a turn. And so what happens is it will execute the incense. The incense has this speed ability, which will be executed. This will decrement the turn cooldown of all adjacent cards. But the problem is, now I need to be able to detect when those adjacent cards have hit 0 and they need to be executed immediately on that turn. So I think what I need to do is... I think what I need to do is, what? Shoot. Oh, what do I need to do? I need some way of... this turn executor component. I wonder if it should just... I'm almost wondering if this... I wonder if this block should be moved into the decrement turn cooldown. So do turn. Call this do turn. Get rid of this bool here. Yeah, I wonder if I can just move this into here. If is finished, execute abilities. Oh, but it doesn't have a target board. I don't have the right context. Okay. I don't know if I want to use signals either. Because then the turn executor will need to somehow become aware of all of the cards that get added or removed from the board for processing. And I don't really like doing that. I think get cards on board. I wonder if I should just... I mean, the way to do it for now would be to do this. Make this turn tick public. And pass in the public turn executor component into the context. I'm not sure if I like that. But now what I can do... Now what I can do is in my speed here, instead of calling card decrement turn cooldown, I can do execution context dot turn executor component dot turn tick. I can just tick that card instead, and that will give me the free execution. So I can pass in that card and say, okay, well, decrement that card's cooldown, so on and so forth. I guess. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, let's try it. Incense. This is a turn cooldown of 4 or 5. So how is this going to work? I need to probably add some UI elements for the turn cooldowns and stuff. That'll be the next challenge, because I need to be able to visualize what's all going on. But let's go ahead and see. So put this here, put that here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to tell. I should see this go down more than... I can't tell what's going on. I think that is going faster. I think it's working. Because there's a section in here. You know what I could do? What I could do for the incense here is I could just turn the turn cooldown to 3. It's the same turn cooldown as the skeleton. And so I should see that the skeleton is basically operating on 2 turns instead of... Oh, now it's going every turn. Oh, wow. Wait a minute. Okay, maybe I should actually see what's going on here. Maybe I should actually see what's going on. We'll do a debug. Fine, we'll do a debug. Jeepers. Jeepers. Okay, put this here, put that there. Begin. Oh, it's not even actually... That's not even actually... Oh, wait a minute. Was I making stuff up? Was I lying to the audience? I never added abilities.add new speed. I think it's just going to return... yeah, reduce by 1. I think I still want to debug it though, but... Yeah, it never added the speed thing to the incense, so it was never even doing anything. Oh goodness, this is why I need the visuals. Okay, begin. Execute. Why is it already executing? Oh yeah, okay, never mind. So let's see, for each of our card in adjacent cards. So this should be length of 1, yeah. Base card, this should be... Does it tell me what type this is? Well, I can see that's got ability.damage here. This is a ref counted. Okay. Anyway. Okay, so let's observe then what's happening. Oh yeah, look at this. This is happening much faster. So if you notice, this right side is going down more frequently than this left side. That's because the skeleton is going every 2 turns instead of every... Now there's a weird spot where it's not going. I wonder if... Oh, you know what? I bet... Wait a minute. I bet... These both 3. Turn cooldown 3, turn cooldown 3. Oh, no, there is going to be a little bit of offset because the incense doesn't affect itself. So every 3rd turn... So on the first phase, it's going to decrement the skeleton's turn counter by 1. Yeah, so there is going to be a little bit of asymmetry there. I think it's working. I think it's working. I mean, I could just do it this way. I could turn this turn cooldown down to 1. And I think that that would basically make the skeleton attack very frequently. Yeah, there's like a gap. There's like a short section where the skeleton actually needs to go through 2 turns. Because of the differential in the numbers there. But yeah, with just that one ability, it looks like I'm going to beat the 2 skeletons without that. Yeah, look at that. Cool. So that's working. Awesome. But I'm going to bump this up to like a 5-turn cooldown. Okay, so I think starting to visualize some of this data is going to be very important. I need like a turn indicator or a turn counter or like a turn progress bar on each card. So I think that's going to be really important. So maybe I'll work on that a little bit and see what happens. But I think I'm feeling pretty good about this board querying setup here. I think this is going to be a very robust way of getting all the data I need about which cards need to be affected. And the nice thing too is that this is sort of game state, or this is agnostic as to which context it's being called from. So I can add in like UI highlighting. So if you hover over something, I can then say, okay, what all cards is this item affecting based on its execution logic. And I might have to break that up. So if I wanted to, instead of execute, what I might want to do is get like an affected card list. I also want to have like tags. So like a minion will have a minion tag. Incense might have like a grave goods tag or something. I don't know. And then have different items affect different tags. That would add an extra level of complexity, but I don't want to go there just yet. I got to figure out this whole architecture first, but it's working, which is great. And yeah, I think this is, I don't know. I think it's going to be all right. So make incense functional. Hello, Dione. Do you have a GitHub version of this project? Interested to see the code? No, I don't. Like I said, I'll open source stuff as I decide not to work on it. But if I'm going to take this all the way commercially, then I mean, it's really a matter of like, I probably shouldn't open source it because there are going to be assets that I don't have a license to share openly, like the sound effects and whatnot. So also, you know, I'm not sure that I want people to just use my art. But if I don't go anywhere with the game, then I'll consider open sourcing it. I'm still in the prototyping phase, though. I haven't given up on the multiplayer prototype, and I don't know if this prototype is going to actually end up being something that's worthwhile. So I'm still experimenting, but yeah, I'll definitely consider open sourcing stuff as necessary. So what do we want to do? These health bars are so ugly. It's taking all my effort not to like go into art mode and like start doing nice health bars and whatnot. But anyway. Okay, so let's think about the turn counter. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. So card. I already kind of have like a UI setup here. What's weird is that my camera is zoomed in by 4. So that's creating an effective play area of 360 by 180, I believe. That's the effective play area that's being created, but the game window is actually rendering at 1280 by 720, and the reason for that is that so I can fit more UI content on the screen. So this is the same thing that I was doing for the multiplayer game. But the interesting thing is that I can scale this up or scale this down by 1/4 and still retain the resolution. So check this out. This number is just a garbage number, but even though that's scaled by 1/4, you can see that renders pretty good here, that number. So I think I'm going to leverage that fact for the turn counter or the turn progress bar. I just have to figure out like exactly how I want this to be. So this is 64 by 128. So let me go into Asprite, file new, what is it, 160, I already forgot. 64 by 128. So then I'm gonna load palette, assets, this. Save palette as default. So if I take this, I'm kind of wanting to do something like this. Like that, and then make it like a radial progress. I don't know if that's going to work, but let's see. Also, the pixel ratio is going to be all off. I don't know. Well, let's try it. Let's just try it. I think I'm probably going to need to save this as 2 different things. Sprite crop. So let's get rid of this. Oops. assets UI, turn progress, outer.png, turn progress, inner.png. And actually, what I might want to do is just make this all that. Yeah. Yeah. Now that I think about it, actually, now that I think about it, I may want to do that. Why does that look so weird? Oh goodness. Okay, well, I'll just leave it. Okay. Turn progress inner. Okay, let's see if this works. So let's go ahead and add a progress bar. I forgot how to do like a radial progress bar, so we'll see. Filter, ignore. Theme overrides. Styles. Fill mode. Am I missing something? Oh, texture progress bar is what I want. That's what I want. Texture progress bar. This is going to be clockwise. Radial fill 1.0. Let's do a value of 0.5. 0.5. Huh? Oh. 0.5. Textures under over progress. So turn, where is it? Turn progress under, turn progress, progress. Is that it? Is that really it? Oh, look at that. Okay. I was expecting that to be more difficult than it was. I'm not complaining. So obviously I'm not going to want that positioning there. But it'll be good enough to just see what's happening. So let me just see what this looks like. Hello, my Coon Dev. Thank you for the 99 euro or 99 cent euro. What is it? 99 cents euro? Euro cents? Thank you for the €1. Very much appreciate that. Is this a new project? It is indeed. Yeah, a new prototype here. Okay, so we got that little progress indicator there. And it might actually be a little bit small. The thing I don't like about this, though, is that it's not using a proper pixel ratio. Like, these pixels are more dense than the art pixels. I'm not so sure that's going to be a huge problem. I mean, I could just make it... I could just make the UI elements not pixelated, but let's see. This margin container here, I'm actually going to add another control. Shrink begin, or shrink end, shrink begin. This texture progress bar, put that as a child of control. Do I not have position here? Favorite this property. Cool. Try that instead. It's going to potentially interfere with... Yeah, that's maybe not the best positioning. Let's try that. I don't love that. Oh, UI is always my kryptonite. UI is always the thing that just screws me up. Ah, okay, well, that's fine. It's fine. I will want to save this as like a card UI eventually. But let's figure out how I can get this texture progress bar to be connected to the actual turn counter here. So let's see. Access is unique name. Yeah, I think in here what I'll do is, I can emit signals from public delegate void turn cooldown changed event handler int cooldown remaining int total cooldown emit signal name turn cooldown changed turn cooldown. I need like a max turn cooldown. Oh, it's here. Okay. So now in here, what I can do is I can say this.cardStats.connect cardStats.signalName.turn cooldown changed on turn callable.from int on turn cooldown changed on turn cooldown changed. This will be this will be int current cooldown cooldown int max cooldown var percent is equal to float current cooldown divided by max cooldown. Probably will need to do a zero check there. Are you done with the multiplayer one? No, not yet. At least, yeah, I haven't decided that yet. I'm going to prototype this as much as I can this weekend, and then I will determine from there what I want to do. So yeah, that's the plan anyway. Max cooldown, current cooldown, cool. So that's that. And then I can get a reference to this texture progress bar. I'm going to call this turn. I will probably want to do something different for the turn progress, honestly. I don't know. We'll see. Turn progress bar dot value is equal to percent. Now this needs to be mathf.remap. Remap this value in from, I think I can just reverse it. 0f out from 1f, 0f. I don't know if that's going to work, but let's see. We'll just reverse it. On turn cooldown changed. Okay, well, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. You should be able to use the hover and quick action feature in VS Code to create methods such as that delegate callback, or with you need params as well. The hover and quick action feature. Oh, I see. That delegate callback. Well, the problem is that I don't know. I'll have to test that. I was under the impression that it wouldn't work, but let's see. Begin. Oh yeah, look at that. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, that makes sense. So you can see that this is going every time that executes. Every time that executes, it's firing the skeleton because the skeleton's turn is executing at the same time. I should probably make that more of like a constant fill rate. I think that would probably be more satisfying if it was a constant fill rate. But it's working. Turn progress bar dot value plus equals. Oh, I actually don't know how fast it's supposed to go up. Var progress per second is equal to card stats dot card definition resource dot turn cooldown. Is it divided by 0.5? I think it's 0.5 divided by that. Does that work? Oh, it's not setting process. Oh. If is dragging. Could probably use a tween for it, I suppose. Whoops. Just process on all cards. It should be fine. What's going on here? This is a new auto battler necromancer game that I'm testing out. Oh, we'll see. Nope, that is definitely not working. Hello, Ice Lemon. Yeah, I'll explain the game again in a second here. Let me, I just gotta figure out what's going on here. Why am I not capable of thinking of very basic things? Why am I not capable of that? It needs to do... Is it... It's not 1 over the turn cooldown. Every half a second. Every half a second, it needs to go. No, this is right. No, this is progress per second. Yeah, that's fine. It's like that. I think that's right. But the tick is, so progress per half second divided by 0.5, because that's how often the ticks are happening. I think that's what I need. Progress per half second. Okay. I think that will work. I mean, it's going to start ticking up, though. That's the thing. It's not working either. What the heck? Am I just incapable of doing things? 1F divided by that. So if I have 3 turn cooldown, that's 0.33%. It needs to do 0.33% every half a second. Turn progress bar dot value. So if I do 0.33 divided by 0.5, that should be 0.66 times delta. So every second it should do 66%. Did I just do this wrong? Turn progress bar value. Is it not processing? What is going on? Make sure I did that math right. A new one, yes indeed. Oh, that's right. So that's right. I wonder why this isn't working. Why is that not working? Oh, maybe the value... Oh, maybe the value needs to be remapped. Is that what it is? Hold on a second. Nope. What I should see is a smooth increase. I wonder why that's not working. Are you overriding the value somewhere else? I might be. It sure looks like it, doesn't it? It sure looks like it. I wonder if plus equals doesn't work. That could be the case. I don't know why that wouldn't be the case, but... Let me try this. I don't know why that wouldn't work. No, that shouldn't. There's sometimes weird things with... Let's try this. Set value, no signal. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I think it's just, wait a minute. No? Okay, let's try this. Of all the things to be bamboozled by, a simple math equation is apparently it. Why is that not working? What the heck? What is going on? How many times do I have to verify that the number is correct? Like, I guess I'll just print this and make sure it sounds sensible. It seems like the value is being fixed at a certain... Oh, you know what it is? I don't think the step is big enough. This step is not big enough. So it's always clamping it to the nearest 0.01. That's probably what's happening. Okay. I knew it was something weird like that. Okay, so... This step needs to be like... Oh boy. Wait, can I do a 0 step? Ooh, I can do a 0 step. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Those tricky Godot quirks will always get you. Obviously, I need to prevent that from ticking up before the game has started, but let's go ahead and do this, and we'll just go begin. So you can see now. Yeah, nice. Sweet. Now check this out. Let's see if it works if I do... If I give the player another skeleton warrior. There's still a lot of this code base that's pretty messy here, but check it out. So let's do this. So this is where like the synergies can come in. So now I got 2 skeletons being boosted. What happens if I do another incense? Ooh. If I use the incense to boost the incense, is that going to work? This is where I might have to use the tag system and make incense only apply to certain tags. Because if I put this here, I also want to do some work with allowing you to swap around, but if I do this, It's going to be like ridiculous because the incenses are going to reduce each other's cooldowns. So this is where I might need a tag system, like incense reduces cooldowns of minions, you know. So yeah, but they're affecting themselves too. That's really cool. So essentially that both incenses become a turn cooldown of 4, which is nice. I'm not in love with that indicator, but... And the cool thing is, if I wanted to, I could allow the player to speed up the gameplay. So I could turn this timer down to 0.25. I would obviously need to have some kind of global value for this, but... So I could add speed up options as well, where you could get through the game quicker. Do this, do this, do this. Okay, begin. Sweet. So yeah, but I think I'm going to put this back to 0.5 for now. So yeah, the reason those I'm doing like a turn tick system, just so that I don't have to deal with like timing drift or anything. So basically just it's operating on ticks. So every tick is like every turn, you know. Okay, so I'll explain the game now for the people that want to know what's going on here. But first, let me commit this stuff. What did I even do? Oh, I added turn progress indicator. Okay, yeah, so the game that I'm working on here, oops, I just closed it. So the game I'm working on here is basically an auto-battler roguelike kind of deal where you collect cards, and each of these things is a card here. And you have a grid, and you basically want to optimize your grid power by putting cards in the grid in the right configuration. You can have cards that are minions, which do like damage or have some other kinds of offensive ability. And then you can have cards like this, well, that's a Viper. You can have cards like this Alembic here, which could be weirdly shaped, like an L shape, but then provide adjacent bonuses, or do something interesting like provide bonuses to everything in this column and in this row here. So that could be something like you want to maximize this potential by putting it in a corner, right? And the idea is that basically, yeah, you'll just want to collect cards through the run. You'll get minions, you'll get upgrades, various items and whatnot. And then you're basically just going to be in this auto-battling configuration here where you have to create a board that's more optimal than your opponent's board. And I still have to figure out like to what extent I'm going to allow the player to modify their board while they're actually playing the game here. But that's kind of the idea. And then you'll face a bunch of AI enemies, and as you beat them, you will get upgrade opportunities. You'll be able to upgrade cards. So like you'll be able to super buff like a minion if you want over the course of the run. You'll face bosses that have bigger grids and more stuff going on. So yeah, that's kind of the idea. Yeah, that's basically it. I don't have a super good idea of how the combat's all going to shape up, but that's kind of what I got going on. So what do you think? Good idea, bad idea? I think it could be fun, as long as I design it in a compelling way where the grid choices are meaningful and like upgrading items is super fun. So like what I could do is I could say, oh, here's an encounter where you can upgrade a minion, and so you combine 2 skeletons, right? And like they become a more powerful skeleton. Maybe have some kind of upgrade indicator or whatever. You could also maybe collect additional bonuses. So like a skeleton might not typically have fire on it, but you could maybe add like a fire affix to it through an upgrade path. And now you've got a skeleton who doesn't typically do fire is doing fire now, and you get to keep that for the run. I'm listening about a course of card games in C#. I'm crazy. Okay. All right. Obviously, I shouldn't be able to move these around while they're going on here, but Lots of stuff to do here still with the game, obviously. Cool. All right, well, I'm going to end the stream there. I think, yeah, I didn't quite go to 3 hours, but 2.5 hours, pretty good Saturday morning stream. But I'm going to go get that McDonald's now. So yeah, I don't know, probably won't be streaming the rest of the weekend, but looks good. You might want to look at Boolean logic for the tag system. Like, for filtering out which tags apply to what. Thank you, Rina. Very much appreciate that. I'm just going to wait and see if Peter here responds before I sign off for good. But yeah, check out Gunforged. It's in the link in the description below. That's the way you can support me. You can also purchase one of my Udemy courses. Those are linked below. And if you purchase Gunforged and you play it, leave a review. I've been stuck at 44 reviews for the past couple days, so I'd appreciate a review if you got one. Like electronic circuits? Okay. I'll have to, yeah, see if that's applicable to the game. Thank you for joining us, Ai. Okay, thank you, everyone. Have a good McSnack. Was a nice stream, thank you. All right, have a good day, everyone. I will see you in the next stream, probably Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern. All right, bye-bye.